Hello, folks. I am back with another video, and I'm going to do my impressions on this firearm, but I want to talk about something prior to this, and it's regarding the AR-15 platform. And a lot of people that are first timers that are buying firearms right now are buying AR-15s, and they're not really understanding the platform itself. There was a guy making a complaint to me and he was saying that we sold him a defective AR-15, and I'm going to show you what he was complaining about. All right, excuse the shaky camera. Also be advised that all these firearms are safe at this time, so I'm just going to show you exactly what he was complaining about. Now, he was complaining that the charging handle was moving back and forth, and I don't know what he did. Somehow he's got it in this situation when it's moving back and forth. Now, the normal AR-15 person that's familiar with the platform knows that when that charging handle is moving freely like that, it's because that the bolt catch or bolt lock is holding the bolt carrier in the lock position. And the only way that that is going to go forward is if he puts a live magazine inside, and he would either pull the charging handle back, but the proper way would to be is hit the bolt release catch. So all I had to do was just press the button here, and you heard it click right there. And you see that if there was a magazine inside here, that uh, the live round, would have been charged inside the chamber, and then there would be no wiggle room from the charging handle. I'm going to say this to all newbies that are out there with this with AR-15 platforms. I'm not going to do a video on what you should do on this platform. There are plenty of videos out there, but the biggest thing that you should do is basically read your manual. Don't go from the store to the range without reading your manual, because I've watched a lot of people do that. So I'm going to take a break from this, and then I'll be back to talk to you about my shooting impressions. Okay, folks, here is my shooting impressions of the Ruger 5.7. And I finally got a chance to shoot this because it's been, by the time when I purchased it, I was just a lot busy working and so forth. I did get to shoot a Ruger 5.7. It wasn't this one. It was somebody else's. And when during that time, I shot it without an optic. So when I shot that particular firearm without an optic, I'm going to tell you, it was dead on. It was dead on accurate. And the range I was shooting that particular person's uh, firearm, it was roughly about 7 yards. Now, I the firearm is a very decent firearm. It's a very good firearm, and it's quality made. I have a little few issues with the firearm, and the issues are me. It's not with the firearm. It's me trying to get acclimated with the firearm itself. So I never shot this firearm without its optic. This particular one, the one I own, I only shot it with the optic on. So this is what happened. I'm going to show you some targets, and I decided to shoot this firearm anywhere between 10 and 15 yards. My first shots with the optic were right over here. I had to make some adjustments, and of course, it was low here. And then I kind of peppered it in the center, and it was kind of hard. What was going on was I had a problem with the optic, and you see all these are right here. But once I got into a spot where I can kind of keep it centered like I wanted to, I was fine. But I had optic failures, and what I mean by that is on the Ruger 5.7, this plate is made for the Vortex products and I believe it's the Burris Fast Fire products. Now, I normally shoot any optic that I buy from Vortex. I really love their products. I put them on most of my firearms, and it's usually the Vortex Venom that I use. But in the case of the Viper, for those of you who don't know, the battery is in the bottom here. So to put the optic on, uh, you put the battery inside at the bottom, and I guess when you put it on top of the plate, the optic itself is supposed to hold the battery in place. Combination of the connection and the battery itself. I'm not a fan of those because people have complained in the past with other optics that the battery can sometimes jump out of contact, which means that your optic will either flicker or will go off completely. And that's what was going on with this particular firearm. So during recoil, that particularly happened. And the only reason why I have this optic on here is I had this optic for roughly about 2 years and never put it on anything. So it was laying around, and I said, "Hey, let's put it on this one." And the flickering started. It was on target, then it would disappear, and that's what you see here. You see here with the targets that sometimes it was there, sometimes it wasn't. But once I got it to a point, it was in this particular area. So it's no fault to the firearm itself. Like I said, I shot somebody else's 5.7 and it was dead on accurate. It is a very good firearm, to say the least. It's like I said, quality made. I like the fact that it's got that 1911-ish safety right here, and yes, it is a what they consider a firearm because all the hammer internals are inside. But the trigger really feels good. I have to learn a little bit more with the trigger, my finger placement on the trigger. So that is something that will be a learning curve for myself. Um, like I said, very well made, very accurate. It's accurate. If I can do my job, yeah, it's going to be very accurate in my hands. But like I said, the other one just worked perfectly, and I use two different types of ammunition. I know Federal has their ammunition as well as FN has theirs. I think they call it the V-MAX or something of that nature. But I notice a difference between the Federal and the um, the uh, FN version of ammunition. I found that the FN version was a little bit more accurate. It was a lot more accurate, and I think they consider that a defensive a load. You can fact check me on that one. There is also another um, brand out there. It's I believe Spear Gold Dot or something of like that nature. I think they have a version for the 5.7 caliber. So those are the three that I know of, but I've tried, like I said, the only two. Uh, I, because of my troubles with the optic, I'm almost on the fence with the firearm, and I know the firearm can do a better job. Let me rephrase it. I can do a better job with this firearm. Uh, it's a very decent firearm, shoots well. Once I get to a point where I might what I might do is just get rid of this optic to get all together and just go with a Vortex Venom. Vortex, like I said, make quality optics, but I think this one is not going to be the match for this firearm itself. And the plate itself is made for uh, it's made for the Vortex Venom, the Vortex Viper, and the other um, products that Vortex makes. Like I said, the Burris that will not work with this particular plate. So they only made it for two different manufacturers. And then I'm going to pull up another target using this firearm. And with this particular target, I put this out at 15 yards. As you see, I'm a little better centered, but it's not to the point where I want it to be lowered. And this was just a quick shooting with this particular rounds that I did today on this target. So, what do I think about the uh, 5.7? I think it's a very good firearm. I need more shooting time with it, and I know I can do better with it. So, once I get a replacement for this optic here, I'll give you a heads up on that and let you see how it's doing. Recoil, I didn't notice any. I forgot all about recoil. When it comes to a little bit of a burst or a blast, a flame, not a flame, but you know what I'm saying. You can see a decent amount of flash here, but other than that, it's really a great firearm. Applications, I think it would only be good as a target firearm. I don't look at this as a defensive firearm, though you probably could put it in that scenario like for home defense. It's not recommended for carry, but I can see this being used for. I don't see it being used for home defense, in my personal opinion. I think it would be good for like I said, target shooting. There are people that will challenge that and say, yes, it will be, but that's just my personal opinion. But other than that, I think it's a good firearm. I just need to do my part. And with that, I'm going to say happy shooting, stay safe, hashtag 2A.